Welcome back to Recap and React with Candace, where I talk about all my favorite TV shows, movies, whatever I feel like talking about in terms of TV film related. And I'm back again with another recap of another episode of Love is Blind season 7. We're on episode 3 now, guys. And so, where we left off, episode 2 was the Garrett and Taylor reveal. So, we get that reveal. They are kissing immediately. They can't stop kissing each other. Well, Garrett's kind of initiating all the kissing, but they seem to like what they see. You could just tell he was very, very nervous that she maybe wouldn't be attracted to him, but she's attracted to him. They both seem happy. She even seemed a little nervous. There still were some like awkward moments, but that's kind of to be expected. Like you've been talking to this person through a wall all this time, and then now they're right there in your face, and you're immediately supposed to be like affectionate with them when you haven't even seen them before. Like you don't even know what they look like. But their reveal went good. And then we get to Ramses. I was saying his name wrong in the last episode. It's Ramses. I was saying Ramses. Ramses and Bowden, they are actually kind of close and they realize that they are both dating Marissa. So that is a whole other thing. But they seem cool, kind of cool about it, at least to each other. Then we get the Bowden and Marissa date. He tells her that he found out who she's dating, who, her other guy was, but he said, he doesn't make a big deal about it. He's like, I'm not really worried about that. We're close, but she's like, just as long as y'all not doing that whole like I'll back off so you can have her type of thing. And he's like, nah, I'm not doing that. So she says she's been in love one time because he asked her like, well, how many times have you been in love? She just kept going kind of roundabout about it. I'm just like, girl, like you don't know. So eventually she does say just one time, and he says he's been in love twice. He said it was once when he was really young, like 18, when he was like 18 to 21, he was like in a relationship, and then he said also with his ex-wife. Um, so I kind of like that they're not the type to both just throw the love word around. It seems like they're not gonna say they've been in love 4 or 5 times, you know. But they do have a lot in common, more than what we see with her and Ramses, um, because they both are ex-military. Like we said last episode, they're both like into like the fantasy books and all that kind of stuff. So I like their chemistry at the moment. Um, then we get her date with Ramses. He brings up Bowden, but he's uh, different from Bowden. He seemed to be a little insecure about it. He says he got in his own head when he found out about it. He would have preferred to not have known who else she was dating at all. So I think that really got to him. Just like I think it's one thing to know that like they're having little dates with other people, and another thing to know that they have a strong connection with another guy who you are close with. So you know how good of a guy this other guy is. You know what I mean? So I feel like I can understand that. He's letting her know that he just needs reassurance. He needs a little reassurance to know that she's still into him. I guess he just wants to make sure it's not one-sided, which I think is understandable. They discuss she asked him kind of like about gender roles. So they discuss that and she's kind of like, what do you think like about that? He's basically like lets her know he doesn't believe in gender roles at all. He believes, they should do whatever fits in their marriage. And she actually brings up like that she doesn't see herself ever being a stay-at-home mom. Like that's just not the type of person she is. She has to work. But she said she would possibly be okay with her husband staying at home. And he didn't come off like he wants to be like a full on like stay-at-home dad, but he says his goal is to eventually work remotely. So then, if he needs to like take care of things with, they have kids, he needs to take care of the kids and stuff. He would be in a position to do that at home while he's working from home. And she really likes that about him. Then we get a Tim and Alex update. They have a little date where they're playing some different games, some kind of like get to know you type of games. They have all their dates, and Tim kind of brings this up. All their dates have been so serious, so this is the first one we're seeing where they're like having like a little more fun. And he said he was worried if whether or not they could have fun together, because all of their dates before that, the combos before that, were so heavy. But he says this is the most fun that he's had with her. So I really like that. And I agree with him because you want to be able to have fun with your partner. You don't, everything doesn't have to be serious. Everything doesn't have to be like just romance, romance, romance. You want to be able to laugh and have fun with them. So I liked that about their connection. Then we get Tyler and Ashley. His birthday is going on. She got him some balloons and stuff. They seem to be hitting it off still, which I like. She writes some words for him to thank him for loving her. Basically, she finally tells him that she loves him because we saw him tell her last episode, but she didn't say it back. That's why I was like, but it was so like she was so chill. They both were kind of chill about it. I was like, well, have they been saying it and we just don't know? But I guess they hadn't. So she does finally say it, and Tyler just crying. He's so emotional. But he's just down bad for her, honestly. So he ends up proposing. She says yes. They're both just a crying mess. Still my favorite couple, even through the end of the episode. Still my favorite couple. Loved every bit of their connection there. Then we get Hannah kind of talking to the girls about some of her insecurities, and she's kind of like, she doesn't know if the two guys that she's into are big on body type because she's talking about how they eat so healthy. And she's like, should I tell them that I lost 40 pounds in the last year or not? And so that's what she's kind of struggling with, like whether or not to let them know that. Leo is talking to David, and he says that he's between Brittany and Hannah. And he's like, did you date either of them? And David's like, yeah, I dated them both. And then he's like, well, what about your conversations with Hannah? He was like, I don't know if Hannah was like your number one or anything. And he's like, no, Hannah was my number one, but she broke things off with me. And he's like, well, why did she break things off? And then David basically was insinuating, I guess, that Hannah broke things off with him because he's short. I don't know. Oh, excuse me. But I don't know. I don't know. They were saying like he mentioned like Hannah being like 5'8" or 5'9" or something, and then that's why she broke things off with him. I don't know. I was a little confused. I think David was the same one. I don't know. Was he the same one saying crazy stuff about Hannah last episode? Let me check my notes. I think he was. And so that's why I just don't, or in episode one, so I don't really know if I trust anything that David has to say about Hannah at this point because he seems to, yeah. It's like if she was your number one, then why were you in episode one talking about some like what type of person would want to be with Hannah or something he said to that effect. You know what I mean? I don't get it. But then you're on this episode talking to Leo saying that Hannah was your number one. So it just sound like you just hating because she don't want you no more. But anyways, so then Brittany is struggling because the situation with Leo and Hannah is reminding her of her past relationships, basically being put up against other women because she dated a lot of guys that had a lot of status. Like I know she mentioned dating like professional athletes and different stuff. So they have women around them all the time, and a lot of times they will have multiple women. And so she just feels like this situation that she's in with Leo is making her like reminding her of those situations. So we get a Leo and Brittany date. He tells her that he knows he needs to make a decision, but he wants some more time to decide between her and Hannah. And Brittany is not really feeling this answer. She feels like he's just not giving her a lot of reassurance. She doesn't have a lot to go off of with him, which I think is fair. Like I feel like he's definitely given Hannah more reassurance. But I think he feels like Brittany is the safer choice because she's what he's used to. He begins to express to her some of the things he likes about her, saying that she's smart and, maybe people assume that she's not, but she's really smart and some of the things that she's done and stuff. She wrote a book and all this stuff that he likes about her. And she just feels like he's just trying to compliment her, just to do it to make her feel better. And she's disappointed. Like she just doesn't like the type of conversations they have on all their dates. She feels like every time she has a date with him, it has to be like this heavy conversations or talking about his decision making and all that stuff. but I think she's maybe insinuating that she feels like that Hannah gets the fun dates with him. But Hannah, I feel like, also chooses not to harp on his other connection like she does. You know what I mean? So like when even when he tried to bring up Brittany, she was basically like, I don't want to talk about your other connection with you. You know what I mean? I just want to talk about me and you, which I think that's a difference in why they keep having those conversations. If she made it clear she didn't want to talk about him and Hannah, they wouldn't be talking about him and Hannah anymore. You know what I mean? So that part of that is on Brittany, if you ask me. So then Leo says he just needs to have one more conversation with his other connection to get more clarity. And then by their nighttime date, he can have an answer, for her. And then Brittany's like, well, you don't have to have it by our nighttime date. Like, I would actually prefer if you sleep on it. He's like, okay, cool. And he's like, for our nighttime date, well, I'll make sure it's a fun date. I'll have like a surprise for you or whatever. So then we get Leo and Hannah. They have their date. He discusses with her having a prenup. But he didn't have that same conversation with Brittany. At least we didn't see it. So I'm wondering, like, is he leaning more towards, at this point, does he know he's leaning more towards Hannah? So he needs to have those big questions out of the way with her, or what? Or does he like know that Brittany is not going to be down for the prenup necessarily? I don't know. So she says that she says she's fine with the prenup or whatever. And then she also lets him know that she likes that although he has money, like he clearly comes from money and doesn't have to work, she likes that he does work so hard because he could just sit at home, but he chooses to work hard and continue to build his business. And she likes that about him. And he appreciates that she says that and that she notices that. She talks about her insecurities. So she does let him know like she struggles with weight and body image, and it's just a sensitive topic for her. She lets him know how she gained weight during COVID, but ended up losing 45 pounds since. Um, and he seems to be, at first, like, I can read him because it seemed like he was a little unsure when she started talking about weight with him. But then he proceeded to ask her, like, if she feels like she would say yes if he got down on one knee or not. And she says, yes, she would, which was weird because next we get Nick and Hannah's date. And Nick jumps off asking her about Leo's, like, how did your other date go? She's like, I don't want to talk about Leo, you know. So then she asks about his career transition, like how did he deal with transitioning his career after football? And he talks about how he's like depressed after because he always thought he was going to be like a professional football player and that was going to be his career. Um, but things change and he had to make a pivot to a different career choice. She asked him about finances and if he feels like kind of, she doesn't ask for a specific number, but she was like, do you make pretty good money or whatever? And she's saying because she wants to make sure they will be comfortable financially because she does not have a job at the moment because she quit her job to come on this show. And I think that's why she like feel like she has like she has to find a husband on this show. Like I think that is where it stems from because she put all her eggs in this basket. Like she quit her job in order to come on the show to find a husband. So she feels like she has to definitely leave here with a husband. Um she talks to him about the weight struggles as well. He seems in my opinion just body language, face, everything. He takes it way better than Leo does. And she brings about the bikini thing or the bathing suit comments that he made, and he apologizes for making like jokes and stuff that made her think he wouldn't be happy with her physical appearance. He lets her know that's not what he was trying to do. So then we get a Steven and Monica date. She feels lucky to have found him here. I'm still a little side eye on Steven, but we'll see how he pans out. I'm going to try to, give him benefit of the doubt for now. She still sleeps with her childhood teddy bear at night. I thought that was a little weird, but to each their own. He tells her that he's fallen in love with her and she reciprocates. They both start saying, I love you. And he gets emotional. He's crying and stuff. So that was a cute little scene from them. Tyler and Ashley reveal. I didn't take a whole bunch of notes because y'all, I was so in the moment. This is my favorite couple. They were just Tyler was looking good. Ashley with that black dress, she was looking good. All of Ashley's outfits be eaten down. Like Ashley just be all her outfits be on point. Um, when they see each other, they both seem really giddy. They weren't like kissing so much like what's his name, Garrett and Taylor. But I also think part of that was because I hate to say it, just a cultural difference. Like, black folks, we not finna just be just kissing all up on people like that quick. But then also she did have like lip gloss and stuff on too. So I think she probably just didn't want to like mess up her lip gloss too much. So they did more like, a few little pecks here and there. But I could tell I think she wanted to kiss him more. But just when they were sitting next to each other, the way she was kind of leaning in and looking in his face. But she wanted him to initiate the kissing, I think. And so, and I think he was just like so nervous and just so excited that she was fine that he didn't know what to do with himself. They both seemed attracted to each other, so that's good. Even like when they got out of the like when they left the reveal, when the door shut back closed, they both were like real excited. So I think we got one here. We got one. We might have another Tiffany and Brett, but we'll see. We'll see. So then Nick and Hannah again. She appreciates him listening to her. She's letting him know, like, I appreciate you listening. Even when I told you like some things like that made me feel away or just triggered some things in me, and you were very understanding. She feels like he's so much more than what people think of him, and he's letting her know like he appreciates that. He tells her that he's in love with her, and she says she feels the same way, but I'm like, she just told Leo that she would say yes if he proposed. So it's like, if you in love with Nick, why are you telling Leo you would say yes if he proposed? Literally the same day, or maybe it was the day before. I think it was the same day. So I was just confused with that. He tells her um, that they're gonna be the cutest couple, and she again takes it the wrong way. Like he wasn't even talking about looks. I think he meant like how they interact and stuff like that. I don't think he meant it looks wise, and he had to reiterate to her like, no, I wasn't meaning it that way. Like she is really gonna have to work on them insecurities. Like if she's gonna have a lasting marriage, she has to work on them insecurities, because you see how that ate at what's old girl from the other season, Megan Fox. I don't remember her name, but yeah, her. And then what's the other one, Danielle, that they got divorced. I think it was Nick and Danielle. Yeah, like you got there. She's gonna have to work on that. I don't go to therapy or something, because like any little comment he makes, like, you know what I mean, like it's triggering something, and he's not like saying anything malicious. So that's just gonna be something that she's gonna have to do some work on. And then we get Leo and Brittany. He asks her what type of ring she likes, but she says she will only tell him if he's asking that question to only one person. And he's like, well, I had already made the decision that I would either ask both of y'all or neither one of y'all. And she's like, well, why? And he's like, because I'm still torn. I don't know which one of you I'm, leaning more towards yet. Brittany, at this point, he's upset about it, and she just wants to leave. She's saying, but she ends up staying and having. He's like, well, I can kind of guess what I think you would like. She's like, okay, what do you think I would like? And he basically knows kind of to the T what she would like, pretty much. The only thing he wasn't sure about was what color, what color metal for her band, and she's lets him know like she only wears gold jewelry or whatever. So she seems okay after that. She's like, oh, I'm not as mad since you clearly know me. You know what I like or whatever. But then next thing you know, she flips it on him again. And she's talking about like, well, he tried to make the little kissy sounds or whatever at her like he did with Hannah in their little date. And Brittany's like, it's weird for me to do it back or something. So again, like she's not, I just don't know how much fun she would have with him. You know what I mean? And she's still upset that he's so torn between her and Hannah. She said she wants to have a fun date, but she's making it a not fun date because she's harping on what he got going on with Hannah. So then when Brittany comes back into the women's quarter, Hannah's talking with some of the girls and they let Brittany know like, oh, Hannah's about to break up with your man or whatever. And so Hannah lets Brittany know like, Nick is my man, my man, my man, my man. I ain't worried about Leo no more. That's basically what she says. And Leo still wants Hannah in the men's quarter. He's talking to some of the guys and they keep saying, you keep bringing up Hannah's name a lot. Like, you're not really bringing up Brittany's name like that. And at this point, though, he doesn't know that she's already basically picked Nick. So Leo and Hannah, they get to have their little date. She lets him know that she picked Nick, basically. Like, she's like, I like our connection, but I have a stronger connection with this other. Well, I don't know if she said stronger, but she was like, I love this other guy. Like, I think I know I love that man. And Leo, he's like full panic mode at this point. He's asking her for reason. He just like, oh my gosh, he don't know what to do with himself. He's asking for reasoning behind it. He asking her if she's made up her mind and what her and her other connection have committed to. Like, I need to understand. I think he's like, he's basically asking like, are y'all engaged? Like, are you sure? And are y'all engaged? Like, and she's just getting confused. She doesn't know what to do. She's so confused. She's like, we haven't like, she's like, basically she's saying that Nick was sure about her and she didn't like the fact that it seemed like Leo was not sure, that he kept putting her on the same level as Brittany. It's like, I think that bothered her. I know that's part of the experiment, but it's like, it seems like they're getting towards the end of that part of the experiment. So by then you should have, you know what I mean? You should be a little more confident, more sure in who you want. I kind of get where she's coming from. And then just with her insecurities, I know that's part of it. It's like, I have one man who's sure about me and knows that he wants me. And then I have this other man that is putting me on the same level as this other woman, so I think just for her confidence and her security, she wanted to go with the guy that she knew was 100% about her, and you can't really blame her for that. So he's going on his rant. He's wanted her bad. He eventually confesses, like, he's saying that he loves her and he wants her to be his wife. And so he's panicking and basically says he wants her to be his wife and asks, is it too late? He's like, is it too late? Like, are you already fully committed to Nick? Is this too late? And that's where we leave off on episode 3. Left on a cliffhanger, guys. I don't know. I don't know who Hannah should pick. Because I was so sketched on Nick, but Nick has kind of reassured so much. And she has told him about the weight stuff already. So he know, like, he's not I don't think he's necessarily expecting her to be like a certain body type necessarily. So now I'm like, okay, maybe I do like Nick better because Leo seems a little full of himself. So I don't know. I don't know which one I want her to pick, but I'm interested to see who Hannah does decide to pick. And so, yep, that's where we left off episode 3. I'll be back to talk to you guys about episode 4. Bye.